Wow, this is going to be interesting because what if the regular slab phones from Apple hit a price tag starting at 1,500? What if that happens? There are a lot of OEMs increasing their pricing right now. And I did a video on this before, and a lot of you guys chimed in and said, hey, they're not going to raise the prices on cell phones and things like that. But now, here we are, fast forward just a little bit later, new tariffs imposed on Apple, and in particular, that if they don't move their production to the U.S. market, they will have to pay higher tariffs. I mean, it's a big amount. And, market analysts and just people, engineers, they're all saying we can't move the factories to the United States. It would cost billions of dollars, and it would just take too long. And it's just not financially worth it for them. It's way more efficient and lucrative, and it's just better for them to not have manufacturing in the U.S. And you know what, though? Sometimes it's going to sound crazy, but I wouldn't want the manufacturing to be done in the U.S. People use the terminology Chinese phones and things like that. In reality, almost everything we have is not made in the U.S. And is it really that big of an issue? There's a lot of things with all these deportations and all these things, these conversations happening. There's just so much more to things going on to where we have to worry about just getting money. Listen, I watched an interview from someone in a different country, and I know you guys might have seen this before if you're following political status of the United States and just things going on. He said pretty much, hey, look, yeah, we made money off of you. But you don't handle your money the same way we handle ours. You take your money and just keep making the same small amount of people rich, and we take care of our entire country. There's really no comeback for that. What's the rebuttal to that? Because, where we live at, the majority of people are living outside of their means, and we all get things that we don't technically need. But when it comes to the tech side, that's an important thing. We cannot have, it will be a collapse. No doubt about it. It will be a collapse, and Apple will fall off. Believe it or not, they will not be able to sell smartphones starting at $2,000 for like an entry level smart. It just won't. It won't be able to work. And we all know that Apple's not going to move their production to the United States. Remember back in the day, we used to ask, we started to find out how much it cost to manufacture the iPhones. Remember, it was like $200 and things like that. And they were selling them for 3, 4, 5 times the cost. And that's what manufacturing, when you're manufacturing in a mass production like that, it's going to cost you less. It's no different than our computers, our laptops, our monitors, our TVs. Everything, when done in mass quantity like that, you save. Back in the day, I physically worked for Samsung, Texas Instrument, Dell. I literally worked in all these facilities because I wanted to get hands-on time. When I first went to college, when I got in the military, I went to college. Before getting into law enforcement, I went to college. I went to college in the military too. And I was always a hands-on person. I used to physically build computers. I loved it. And so that's why I ended up working at Dell, Samsung, Texas Instrument is actually, people know them for calculators, but I did motherboards and everything for them too. I did motherboards for all these companies pretty much just about. And I was on the line, hard physical, it's not hard labor, but it was physical labor. So it could be intense. But I started off just building computers, you know what I'm saying? And then I moved to the software side. And I was like, yeah, the software side is definitely where I would rather be. Then I started building websites and building things, and, learning JavaScript and learning HTML and learning DOS and all these different things when I first started out. And I just know that I hate to say it, but it's just true. I really feel like if they move production to the U.S. market, it's not going to end well for us. It's going to tank Apple. And who knows, he might be trying to tank Apple. He might be trying to get them to shut down, or I don't know. All these things about made in America, for Americans, all that kind of stuff, folks, that's just division. We can have some limits on things, but divide and conquer is how it's been here. And unfortunately, it's weird because all this conversation about for Americans, America power, we don't even get along with each other right now. I'm saying I'll say we. I'm not there in the streets doing a whole bunch of stuff, but we don't get along with each other. We just don't. And so I find it strange that all this we are the world stuff is going on now. But where was that a while ago? Okay. The point is, if in fact Apple says, hey, no, look, like officially, we're not doing this. And then tariffs are imposed, we all are getting ready to see a huge price increase. I mean, huge to the point to where it's just going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be laughable. And with Apple being a company, they're going to put their product out. I don't know when the official, some companies have officially raised their prices as of like big jumps. By the end of the year, some companies are saying, look, we're raising our prices. Period. And I've already seen a price increase in some things, but it doesn't look like it's 25% to 50%. It doesn't look that huge. But, when it comes to smartphones, I own smartphoneconversations.com. And that's pretty much where it's probably going to stay if I can't get my hands on the products at a reasonable price. Now, granted, I have the money to buy certain phones at very high prices, but the return, I just don't see it. I don't see the return there for me or my time just to say that I got it. So if smartphones spike, if Galaxy S devices spike and then trade-in values are what they are right now, remember the video? Oh, Mr. Wallace. Some of you guys might not know about that interview. Some of you guys will. I felt like Farrakhan for a minute there. Oh, Mr. Wallace. I love that interview. You should be quiet. No, but seriously, I really feel like, I'm telling you now, my standpoint on this thing is it's going to be a lot more conversations. I'm not, even though monthly I make a substantial amount of money on YouTube with revenue from YouTube. A lot of revenue comes from like purchase links and affiliate links and stuff like that. And a lot of YouTube revenue comes, but just a combination that I get, it's a lot. It's enough to keep buying all these expensive phones without touching any of my pension. And that's just how it's been for me. So, if in fact, because I buy a lot of smartphones, but if in fact we get to the point where, because I buy every iPhone that comes out and I'll buy multiple. If it gets to the point where it's just ridiculous, all the phones are starting at $2,000, $2,500, it's going to become comical at that point. I don't know. I'm still wondering if they'll actually do that. Like, will they really start the iPhone off at a $2,000 price tag for 128 gig? Or, are they really going to try to force us to pay for it? Because they know it's going to fail. It's going to plummet. It's already, I think a lot of people have iPhones right now is because they're able to finance them through their carrier. Now, one thing that will happen, carriers will get overloaded because people will start saying, I'll just rather pay monthly for it through my carrier because carriers don't charge credit checks and things like that, I believe. I think they might do it once to qualify you. At least with T-Mobile, that's how it was. I was at the highest tier for T-Mobile credit, so they kind of like gave me double. I didn't even have a lot of phones on my account. I had a lot of phones, but not a lot of them financed, and they pretty much doubled that. Okay, so I think most I had on my account at one time was maybe 7 lines, and then 2 or 3 tablets. But as far as phones go, they gave me a credit limit of like $20,000 financing phones. I'm like, whoa, there's no way I'm gonna be able to use this. Cause they gave me like this cutoff limit. They said, well, we can't move you up any more tiers or whatever. You got great credit, but you're maxed out at what we can allow you to borrow. And I was like, well, is there a limit? And then he started putting in all the numbers. He was like, basically no more than like 25,000. I was like, what kind of, and this is when phones didn't cost that much. Like, I think the most expensive phone might've been almost $2,000. But I'm just saying, I know T-Mobile only like ran my credit like one time to get me in a tier or whatever. Remember they had those tiers? But I don't know how Verizon does it. I know Verizon will let you finance phones, but I don't really know how, because after T-Mobile, when I had all the other companies that I had Verizon, AT&T, I just paid for the phones out. So I just wanted a regular bill or whatever. But I think the carriers will boom. The carriers will boom because people are not going to want to spend. They're not going to want to spend outright. You'll see a lot of creators, you'll see a lot of influencers still surviving. They'll have all the phones because the companies will send them to them more than likely. But if they don't, and they start leveling the playing field, some people are just not going to be able to survive with paying $2,000 and $4,000 per unit. That's just not realistic. No, that's not realistic. So I have no desire to spend on average, several $1,000s for a device, for one device. I just don't have it in me, like over and over and over again. Like I don't have it in me to keep doing. And again, I have 0 interest rate on my credit cards. I can put it in places, but listen, folks, I still got to give the money back. And I use my credit cards as this right here. This is how I use my credit card. Because I don't have anything to prove anymore as far as credit. I use my credit card, get the points, let it sit for a few weeks. And before my statement post, I pay the bill. So it never hits my credit unless I want it to. Sometimes if I want, here's a little trick for you young people out there who know nothing about getting let's just say a young person has good credit. Side note, okay, I'm gonna get back to on task. If you have good credit and you have like, let's say you have a 5,000 credit limit on your credit card and you want more, max out your credit card to like leave like $500 on it of the 5,000. Let it post to your credit. Pay 5 times on it or 4 times on it, maybe even 3, and then pay the whole thing off. Because what you want is the large amount usage on your credit to show, but you also want to show I'm responsible enough to pay it off with the current income. And then you for certain will get a pay increase on your credit limit. Do that once or twice, then go ask for what you want. Tell them to double your credit limit. Most times they'll do it. They'll say, this person is responsible. They can do it. Now, back to the subject at hand. Tariffs on smartphones, Apple in particular. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and this is just the start, folks, because I remember saying this months back, and so many people hit me up and said, hey, they're not putting tariffs on smartphones. They're not putting tariffs on smartphones. Well, okay, there's no tariffs on smartphones right now, but let's just hit Apple. Why hit Apple? Well, because people consider Apple to be the industry leader. You feel me? So if we can get Apple to buckle, we can force everybody else to do what we want. Yes? Yes. You can't take out the people you want to control without taking out the person in charge. And some people consider Apple to be the industry leaders when it comes to technology at this point for a lot of people. I mean, they are running the iPads, the computers, yeah, they're running a whole, some movies you can only see them on Apple TV, and some of those movies are really good. They're cornering the market. They're staying in the mix. And if we can get Apple to give in or not give in, because it might be that they don't want Apple to move their factories to the U.S. and create U.S. jobs. Every presidency is the same, man, and I've seen several. They might want Apple to say no and then impose those tariffs and just see how far they can push Apple to get the prices up on the products. And in turn, suckers, we spend more money on a single phone, and it just keeps money. So either way, if it happens, however it happens, everyone's looking at Apple saying if they do it, we're going to make everybody else do it. Whichever way Apple buckles and folds or does whatever, we'll be able to control the entire market if they give in or if they stand off. That might be what's really going on here, folks. So with that, I'll say, what are your thoughts? Would you pay $3,500 for a single slab smartphone? $2,000 for a single slab smartphone? What if Apple's iPhones start at $1,450? I mean, for 128 gig or 256 gig or whatever. What if it starts there and then it tops out at $2,900 for a terabyte? I mean, Apple taxes is tough. That's why I always do external SSDs. I edit on external SSD because I have a M4, but I have a terabyte, and I just got me a 2 terabyte. I'll be showing it to you at some point. I went ahead and got me a 2 terabyte, much faster SSD to edit on. Yeah. So the Apple tax is real, but it's unfortunate that they're getting targeted now by this person with these tariffs. And do they give in or do they stand strong? How will it affect the consumers out there? I don't know, but we're all going to watch it happen. So we shall see how it goes. Comment down below. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Quick late night discussion. Yes, it is late night. It is. Wow. I got to go to bed. I've normally been to bed 2 hours ago, but I was hanging out a little bit later than normal. I got home at like 7:30. I was tired, and I've been reading and doing a bunch of stuff. So I come in here this time of night. I don't know what I'm thinking, and do an upload. Yeah, I'm going to bed. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tariffs on Apple. Can they be forced to do something, or should they stand their ground? I'll see you in the next one. Take care.